You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 91. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Mad Dog Jeff Barnard, the mad gunman with a monstrous ego and the peanut brain.
Oh, man. Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can find our show and plenty of other cool podcasts like Feed It Comics, Anti-Fanboy, and Super Podcasto Magnifico, along with lots of neat articles about comic books at rhymeswithgeek.com. So one other little piece of news before we get moving along here. We now have a Facebook discussion group that it's open to any and all listeners of this show. If you want to come and directly discuss or react to our episodes that we post anywhere.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, fan interaction. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Don't expect any fan service. So.
Oh, man. Well, I'm not even going to go there. So, it's best when it's a surprise.
Right.
Anyway, let's talk about our first book today. We've got Crime Does Not Pay, number 119. It's more 50s crime comics from Lev Gleason. And the lead story is called Mad Dog Cole, the Mad Gunman, written by Charles Biro, with art by Frank Boll. And Frank Boll is noteworthy, of course, for doing quite a bit of work at Gold Key Comics, particularly Dr. Solar and Buck Rogers, and also did quite a bit of horror stuff at Warren.
Have you read any Buck Rogers? I don't think so.
No, but we do have some Flash Gordon. I think that's the Buck Rogers, like the one with Tweaky and... I think that Buck Rogers comic is what...
Gosh. I hate Tweaky.
He never bothered me, but I only saw it when I was a kid, so... Yeah. Anyway, Crime.
Yay. Crime does not pay, but crime comics do.
Man.
Mad Dog Cole, the Mad Gun. Why is he so angry? Oh, it's crazy. Oh, okay. This is a real person. Yes. And
you looked this up, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Good. I want to hear all about this because I didn't.
The plot is about there's some changes. It's about it. He was under Dutch Schultz and killed a bunch of people. He tried to take over Dutch Schultz and he attempted to kidnap somebody and killed a kid. And this is similar to what happens in the story.
Right.
And he finally gets killed in a telephone booth, which is what happens in this story.
All right. Well, let's dig into the plot of our story, which is very similar to real life.
Mm-hmm.
See, it says a true crime story, but it seemed like Biro changed things to suit his, whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Balzac says that behind every great fortune lies a cry.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's the introduction to The Godfather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite books. Okay. we start off, the splash panel has the death of,
the impending
death, yeah.
Of Mad Dog Cole. He's in a phone booth phoning somebody. He thinks his one of his goons is out front, keeping him safe, but really he's an informant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to get greased by a rival gang.
Yeah. So, we come up and there's a funeral for this Jim O'Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great little panel of hundreds of people with big, long, black limousines going to a funeral. It's pretty neat picture.
Yeah. So O'Rourke was a big figure in the crime of wherever city this is, I'm assuming.
I'm thinking it's New York City.
Okay.
I got a great picture. This guy Nick Ruda is Dutch Schultz's lieutenant, and he ordered the hit on O'Rourke, and he's
a pallbearer.
He's a pallbearer, and he's looking happy.
Man,
that's cool.
I wouldn't want the guy that ordered the hit on me to be my pallbearer.
No.
It's like, geez, he's going to start taking his wife out on dates too.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Yeah, well, they show that the death of O'Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cole is ticked off because he didn't get that much money for it. So what he's going to do is start his own gang, go against Dutch Schultz, and make a lot more money.
Right.
He gets his own gang together. And, I don't know.
And they rub out a lot of guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people he kills in real life, but there's a dozen or so.
Yeah, he's going after all these smaller gangs,
That's the
just
thing
blowing all these guys
about
away.
real life. Normally the massacres and all that stuff is not as bad as they are in the movies,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and or in the comic books.
Right. Well, if they did it like one little massacre, it's not as interesting. They have to make it more dramatic,
Hmm.
because that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Dutch Schultz was is a real character. He was shot down and he lingered for days, and he was spouting gibberish, and they recorded it
Oh,
and
good.
trying to see, and it makes no sense. So it's
So
kind
they
of,
were seeing if they could get information out of him about his criminal doings, but it was all gobbledygook.
yeah. Although some people say it's some kind of conspiracy.
Hmm.
So
Well, he could have been just if he was shot and lingering for days, like in the hospital or whatever. He was probably on so much dope, he was probably delirious.
right.
But
But there, in Vino Veritas, I mean, you might tell the truth or something like that.
oh
But
sure, but I wonder if that recording is out there.
it may be. I'm not sure if it was just hand recorded because this was a.
Oh, transcribed. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Now that is out there. I got it somewhere in the house. Someone made a play about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, now I want to know. I want to look into all this.
Yeah. I found out about the Illuminatus trilogy, about the Illuminati, done by Robert Anton Wilson, who died last year.
Oh,
Fantastic book. It's got every conspiracy you can think of, and a few more you never heard of. Although there's been a few more after that.
sure.
But, fascinating. Part of it's written by computer, and this is in the 70s, so when something written by computer was an awesome undertaking.
Wow.
So, unreadable part that is, but it's really fun. It's got, I don't know, it's got a crime mystery and politics and weird, all kinds of weird stuff in it. But it's a good read. Joe Bob says check it out.
Okay.
All right, so what's going on here? One of the guys, Mad Dog is trying to get people to join, and he's saying, "Well, what are you going to do? You do all this killing, you get $500, and when you get killed, you get a bunch of flowers." And this one guy says, "I hate flowers," which I've never heard anyone say, but I bet people who are in the florist industry probably hear that.
Sure.
Because they get tired of it. Oh, so he gets all right. So what? It's complicated, folks. There is a stoolie
Yeah.
who calls the police
On Mad Dog.
on Mad Dog, but he works for Dutch Schultz. And from what I understand, why, I don't know, I would think that gangsters would not use anybody to call the cops on, because criminals know so much about each other. It's not a good thing. And
Well, right.
I'm kind of surprised at that. But then Dutch Schultz tells Mad Dog who squealed on him. So Mad Dog runs him over with a truck.
Oh, wow. It makes it look like an accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, there's this great scene where Mad Dog's going around shooting people, and it's bada, and you get four
Panels of just guys just getting blown away.
and the panels are separated by lightning.
Yeah.
It's a border.
Because it's a quick flash of him going around town, basically, and rubbing out all this competition, doing all these drive-bys.
Yeah, punching people. Yeah,
And this is like 50 years before rap.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh.
So it's really well done, very well drawn. Dutch Schultz puts thinks he's getting too big, so he puts a $100,000 reward
On Mad Dog, huh?
Right. So then the bullets come the other way, and Mad Dog's scared about it. So he goes and kidnaps people and accidentally he just shoots somebody.
And he kills a bunch of kids. Or a
Yeah,
couple
he's
kids.
warned, hey, there's a bunch of kids in the way. All right, I shouldn't be in the way. So,
Jeez. But yeah, because at this point, Dutch Schultz is like allowing Mad Dog to do his stuff because like he's eliminating competition for him. but then Mad Dog's become dangerous for him, and so he's got to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's what happens, right?
Yeah. And he's goes through a phone booth and gets shot up.
Yeah.
No, it's not a bad story. Very well drawn.
That's a good read.
It was.
Yeah, and that's what I like about these crime comics. Maybe it's not the easiest thing to talk about on the show, but man, they're fun reading.
And in reality, Dutch Schultz sends a big bunch of flowers to Mad Dog Cole's funeral and says, "From the boys."
That's wild.
Yeah, I know.
What? Is that like an honor among thieves kind of thing?
I think it's Dutch Schultz's sick joke. So that's what I think it is.
Oh, because was it Mad Dog that said, "I hate flowers"? Or was it somebody else?
It was somebody else, but I think he's just being a smartass, so, which is kind of kicking the mammoth down.
Yeah.
But it's Mad Dog Cole, so who cares?
Right? So, the next story in this book is called The Hatchet Man, written by Charles Bureau, and no credits on the artist, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's supposedly a true story. I don't know if it is. I looked up the rest of the names in here, and I didn't find anything on the internet, which means nothing. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be that the story is true and the names are changed. I bet that happened a lot with these.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other people with names, with the same name. So
right.
There's no way. I'm not going to go through 30
John
pages.
Smith. So.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, it could. Yeah. Okay. We start off the Hatchet Man. There's this big dumb guy who is kind of forced into killing people by these two hoods.
Right.
So we see these two. We start off. We see these two hoods going down the road, and you see this doofus eating cotton candy and holding a balloon. And this little girl comes by, looking at the balloon, and said, "Hey, do you want this balloon?" Gives it to her, and then this goober comes over and said, you got one for me, meathead? Ah,
and he pops it with a cigarette butt.
Yeah.
And then the big oaf basically takes the guy apart.
Yeah. Wow, what a cruel thing to do.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you be that way?
Yeah.
There's no. Because he's cruel to a child.
Right.
Why in the world is that funny? But whatever. Some people are just scummy.
Right.
So.
And this is not the bad guy.
Right.
He's just a scumbag.
Right. He's just some random guy.
So they the two hoods see the guy beating up. Let's see, and his name is Willie Muller, I think his name.
Okay.
And he's beating up real good. So they come by and rescue him from the cops, because the cops see what's going on and they chase after him. And so they pay him money, $300 a week, and let him sit around for a couple of weeks, and then, hey, you gotta shoot this guy.
Yeah, because they figured they wanted to put hits on, or to go and do hits on their enemies, and what better than someone that doesn't really have any connection or any ties to them? They can establish an alibi while this guy's out eliminating stuff.
It's a good plan, though.
It's a pretty good plan. It's not smart because you basically hired, what's the guy from Of Mice and Men, the big dope? Lenny. Yeah, they basically got a Lenny type to do this, and I'm like, loose lips, man, loose lips. This guy's gonna know not to keep his cool and keep his mouth shut,
but
or not.
Somebody who is entirely
an imbecile like this, they're not going to be competent.
Maybe even more so if you got someone who was really brain damaged and couldn't talk, but then you wouldn't be able to do it. So it's kind of
there's a competency issue here. So it's an okay plan, but there are flaws.
Yeah, I mean, you're shooting people who expect to be shot and are looking for people. So
right.
But a big dumb guy, he's no big deal.
Right. You don't. That's a threat that's hiding in plain sight. Boom. So it's an okay plan.
Yeah. But is it?
But for a comic book, it works well enough to serve our story.
Right. Okay, so he goes and shoots somebody. It works out fine. He feels really bad about it. So he's got to go shoot this other guy, and he sees him. He's going to go up to him. He sees, this is Willie. He sees these people playing. He's, oh, I wish I could play. Then he turns around, and the guy is gone.
Right, he got distracted.
He comes back, tells the guys he couldn't find them. He lost them. And they get mad and start chewing them out. So they made the classic error of dissing somebody who has a gun.
Right.
Yeah, so he shoots him and runs away. They let's see. He goes to a playground and sees this kid, buys him what he looks like a candy apple, and takes him on a ride. And then the little kid's father,
Who's a drunk?
yeah, and he beats him up. The little kid gets scared and runs away into a train
Tunnel.
tunnel. And Willie comes, saves him, and gets hit and confesses to police as he dies.
Yeah. So.
He paid his debts. He paid for his debts. He died.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good story.
Yeah. Yeah, if he just gotten the right steer when he was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think some people have great families are just bad.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. So I think this is the third and last story in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Is called Partners in Corruption. No credit on the art, but it's written by Bob Wood, who was basically the creator of Crime Does Not Pay. An interesting story about Bob Wood. He murdered a woman and went to jail for, in a drunken argument. He murdered a woman and went to jail, and he pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter, served 3 years.
Yeah.
And then when he got out, he was killed by people who he owed money to.
Wow.
Yeah. The guy who came up with and was the editor on Crime Does Not Pay lived basically like a story out of these comics.
Yeah. Wow. Man.
Yeah.
Okay. And indeed, he found out that crime did not pay.
Right. So, but let's talk about Partners in Corruption.
Oh, got something here. All right. There's this little cartoon, Laugh This Off. And they have it on a bunch of the Silver Age and Golden. And does anybody ever laugh at these things? They're never funny.
They're bad. They're one-panel gag cartoons, and they're just filler.
Yeah. Man.
We've seen a lot of those in like Superman comics with like Super Turtle or like the kid who does modeling. But we never talk about it because it's just crap.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, man, couldn't they put, I don't know.
Advertising?
or advertising or something like public announcement.
But here's
pay
the
your
thing.
Taxes on time. Or something.
These things may exist as inventory for emergency filler purposes, like, oh, an ad fell through, or we didn't have this other copy for whatever,
Right.
Any other announcements, that kind of thing. So they may serve a very specific purpose, which is to not have blank space.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well. They're always bad.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever funny. I've never laughed at one of them or even chuckled or moved my lips in the upward direction.
I mean, generally, I am not a fan of gag strips. I just...
Really?
Yeah, really.
Even in the paper?
Not so much. I mean, I never laugh at them.
Yeah. Well, there's exceptions of Calvin and Hobbes.
Sure, but...
And I have laughed out loud, and I enjoy The Far Side. And there's a few others that are okay, but most of them are awful.
Yeah, I mean, the comic strip and the comic book are two very different animals.
They came from the same father.
Oh, I know.
So.
But,
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
All right. Partners in Corruption. I looked for this character, too, because I kind of liked the story, but I couldn't find anything on it.
Yeah.
It's got a weird name, but there's about 100 people with the same name.
Oh,
name of Ben Gowland. Okay.
So Ben Gowland.
Mm-hmm. All right, we find Ben Gowland, who is I guess, some kind of gangster. He's at the fights, and here comes the DA. Gowland's got his babe with him.
Oh, this story, yeah.
And police commissioner. You know, you never hardly hear of police commissioners anymore.
I mean, they exist.
But you don't hear about it. You hear about DAs and
Yeah.
head of the captain of the police captains and all. You don't hear police commissioners.
I don't know.
That's a great word.
I think the commissioner, in a modern context, is more of a desk jockey, more of a administrator than like doing the crime, the detective work and all the interesting stuff. And I think that's why.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you never hear about the school superintendent. You know, it's always the principal.
Yeah, although you do hear about school and superintendents occasionally.
Superintendent Chalmers, you know.
What a great! I love that.
Yeah, that's like that's the exception. That's the great one.
Mm-hmm. We got some really good. The splash panel's cool. There's a great crowd scene. Just really well done. I like the way the important people are in color and the people who are just a background are black and white. It's a really cool effect. So Gallon tells police commissioner this. He tells a stupid joke about, where are my guys at? Oh, they must be robbing an armored car.
And they are
exactly what they are doing, which is one of the stupidest jokes ever.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you do that? But he thinks he's so untouchable, you know.
Yeah, no one's untouchable to the police.
Right.
So there's a guy behind him who is Buck Nielsen, and okay, he bets on it, and
on the horse race or whatever.
No, it's
the
a fight. And I think the fight is fixed.
It is fixed, and so that what is the main Howland was going to lose a lot of money.
No, Nielsen lost a lot of money to Gallon.
Oh, okay.
Then we see where his Gallon's gang is actually trying to rob an armored car, and they fail miserably.
They lost their nerve or something like that.
It's Dick Tracy because they're going after a bright blue armored car and a bright yellow car.
It is very Dick Tracy.
The Dick Tracy movie, they did the primary colors. I think that's the most clever thing about the movie, but the only clever thing about the movie. So.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out in theaters. I haven't seen it since, so I can't really comment on it. I was a kid.
Yeah, well, I'll forgive you anyway.
I was probably like 9 or 10 when that was out. So
I did like the color though. It was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Nielsen's told by his other steward. He's sitting behind Gallon, and Nielsen has a guy sitting behind him who tells him that the fight is fixed. And of course, it turns out it is fixed. And Nielsen's kind of ticked off, so he has other plans. But the gang goes to Gallon and tells him, hey, we messed up, and he punches the guy out. Which is a bad thing to do for your underlings. Mistakes happen. I mean,
yeah, but if he's like, no big deal, then he looks soft.
Yeah, that's true.
See?
Too. Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be. That's why people are like Skeletor. They treat their henchmen poorly. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think more Godfather would be better. So smacking around your insubordinates. Usually lead them get really angry, actually.
Well, right. I mean, like in a work setting, it's like, the boss who... in a work setting, the boss who is, trains you and then lets you do your job, and doesn't micromanage, is a better boss.
Right.
But if in a crime thing, you have to be meticulous. So I can see, mistakes are expensive.
Right.
And the stakes are high. So, anyway.
All right. The DA finds out about the attempt and says, so Gallon's trying to set up an alibi to hide his crimes. Which, well, duh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gallon. All right, Gallon's sleeping and he wakes up and someone's sneaking into his room, gets clobbered on the head. It's Nielsen. Nielsen takes back his money. And he steals money from him to pay that $10,000 debt he lost in the bet.
Okay.
He hands them to Gallon, along with his Maul.
Yeah.
And who's looking very interested in it.
Yeah.
And he Gallon says, "You're smart. Here, you just keep the money, and you can be my number 2."
Nice. So he's, in a way, his cleverness has earned his way into Gallon's organization.
Right.
But this guy thinks he's going to muscle in on the whole operation and take Gallon's girl, which he kind of does.
I'm not sure he thinks about that now. But Gallon slaps around his Maul. I wonder where that's from. Maul Flanders? Is
Probably.
That where it's from? And that was a mistake. Because we'll see that she really hates him now. Okay. So they know, the cops know about Nielsen. So they keep an eye on him and all that. Okay. So they rob a bunch of places, make a lot of money. Oh, they use tear gas in a bank holdup, which is kind of cool. And we'll see that in the story in Superman later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I carried a gas mask in the Army, but I never did in civilian life. So
Sure.
I don't have one. Have I let... Oh, no, I've told everyone my biggest weakness. I don't have a tear gas mask.
So, yeah. No, that is really clever. Rob a bank with tear gas. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And you got a built-in disguise.
Oh, that's true, too.
Yeah.
Man, those things are hot in the summer. You take it off, and just sweat will pour out.
I'll bet.
Nasty. Okay.
I wonder if that's why the Golden Age Sandman switched to a standard superhero costume. Because the Golden Age Sandman wore like that gas mask.
Yeah.
But it's, like that, and he had the he had the suit with the kind of an overcoat, cape, and the hat. It's like, that's got to get hot. The whole business.
Right. Because they're rubber,
Well, right. But in like fall and winter, that'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you get into summertime, the gas masks. Ugh. So the Kirby redesign of the Sandman's costume, which was more superheroic looking, or standard superheroic looking, it's a sensible redesign.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Nielsen's sitting around thinking about everything, and he's thinking, "Oh, Gallon's only a useless figurehead," and here comes a useless figurehead's
girlfriend.
Now I was trying to think of something else to say, but I can't think.
It's okay.
So she thinks that he is. She is mad at Gallon for slapping her. So,
Well, right.
So,
And he's old and balding, and this guy's young and good-looking guy, and he looks like he's the future of crime or whatever.
mhm.
So
they set up to shoot Gallon. So Gallon is getting suspicious. Oh, the police call Gallon and tell him that his girl is running around with Bucky.
and then they call Buck Houghton, or what is that his name? Buck Houghton? Whatever the guy is.
Nielsen?
Buck Nielsen. Buck Houghton is somebody else. But Buck Nielsen, they call him and say, "Hey, Gallon's gunning for you." So they both, the police engineer a collision here.
Right.
One of them's going to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they'll be able to pin crime and nail the other.
Yeah.
So,
oh man. Gallon did not shave, so he kisses his girlfriend to see if she still likes him.
mm-hmm.
And she complains about his scratchy beard. Says, "Oh, I'll go get a shave." So he goes down. His head's wrapped in a hot towel.
Yeah.
Bucky comes in with sunglasses on. Clever disguise that. I was going to shoot him. Here comes the cops, because they have been keeping an eye on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to shoot out with the cops. They get killed, and that's it.
Yeah. And then the girlfriend gets away because she didn't really do anything.
Yeah, she's gonna fill in a lot of details, but that's about it.
Yeah. So, right on. Hey, that's a pretty fun comic.
Yeah. For once in his life, Gallon had no alibi, but dead men never do.
I like that. That's good. So, Crime Does Not Pay is being collected in these hardcover archival volumes by Dark Horse Comics, and I want to start getting them. But gosh, I wish they would also do Justice Traps the Guilty, because I thought that was a great crime comic series as well.
Yeah, this is well done. They're nice stories. Hard to talk about because the real world. Real world is more complicated than comics usually.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Sandman comic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But and also anthology books are harder for us to talk about.
Because we got to describe the people. And
well, right. If we don't have recurring characters, and you said it in an off-show conversation we had, it's like we don't have to explain who Daredevil is.
Right.
You know. So.
Who? Yeah. Or describe what it looks like, or describe his powers, or describe his,
Right.
Hey, it's Daredevil. Everyone knows.
Yeah. And if somebody didn't know what he does, if we describe, what he's doing or an application of the power, then it becomes clear. But so that's why I try to just kind of pepper things with anthology books and not like do a whole show of them, because those would just be rough and boring. But so let's talk about our next book.
Okay.
It's the Mighty Marvel Western, number 11. And this
I didn't know there was a name of it.
No?
No, we don't have the cover, of course,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I thought I sometimes forget to look at the proper name of it. So
right.
I'm just amused.
In the indicia down there.
Yeah, I should have. I usually do.
That's all right. But anyway, the lead story is a Rawhide Kid story, and it is When a Gunfighter Faces the Enforcers, reprinted from Rawhide Kid number 58, written by Gary Friedrich, penciled by Larry Lieber, and inked by Vince Colletta.
The splash panel is awesome.
Yeah.
And which is why I didn't read them, because I was so agog how so cool this is. I'm not a huge Western fan.
Right.
If I can describe this, we got a bird's eye view of a American Indian being hassled by a bunch of pale faces.
Yeah.
And we don't see the floor. They're on a blank page. And I don't know, that's just a cool effect.
Yeah.
And so it's really well done. And
Larry Lieber is really underrated as a penciler. He was, generally kind of relegated to backup features or books that were not like the top tier as far as art goes. But he's quite competent. And, Vince Colletta, who many people have negative opinions about, I think he is, it's a fine pairing, the two of them. And it looks really nice.
Yeah. I love the cowboy. You don't see anything about him, but you know what he's thinking. He just got his foot up on the chair,
cigarette in his hand,
and his hand on his gun. Says it up. That's why you don't need to have any of the information, but he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, and he's totally cool about it. Like he is in control.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are. What's going on?
All right, they're beating up this Indian who's complaining. What's he complaining about? There's a place called Buzzard's Roost. Yeah, like
of course there is.
I call my house Buzzard's Roost. So he came to negotiate, but what's his name? Butler, something. Yeah. The town boss, he puts him in this cage, suspended from on the ceiling,
which is so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's medieval.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good way to keep an eye on somebody, I guess.
Yeah. But then the Rawhide Kid shows up and decides to get medieval on their buttocks.
He's been there all the time. He does this all the time. He's eavesdropping and says, "Oh, this has gone by too far. And it's far enough. There's bad things happening, and I want to stop it."
Right.
So he goes and kicks the table and beats the crap out of everybody.
And there's a great, just like the fight goes on for at least a couple pages, and it's a classic Western ballroom brawl.
Yeah, the brawl is, usually these things bore me, but this is Kirby-esque.
Oh,
so
yes.
Well done.
You take the words right out of my mouth. Now Kirby was the regular artist on Rawhide Kid, but yeah, Lieber's emulating him well.
Yeah. And the way you emulate people, but not. He's not slavishly doing it. He's
right.
You get the feel of him, but he's got his own style.
And that was sort of the dictate, at Marvel. Like, look, Kirby is he is the guy to keep in mind, because this is this way of storytelling and presenting art is how we want things to look. And I think because Kirby was generally the regular artist, I think Lieber was probably asked to try to draw him in Kirby's style.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the close-up face shots of Rawhide, it's like, oh, that definitely looks like Kirby.
Indeed.
So,
but so Rawhide Kid. I was thinking, was this Ringo or Two Gun Kid? Or
there's a few of them.
Yeah, but it's the Rawhide Kid. He's got a nice outfit.
There's about 5 different Marvel Western heroes that I could think of just off the top of my head. So, and we've looked at 3.
Yeah.
We'll look at a 4th later today, and there'll be another one down the pipeline. So, but anyway.
So, the American Indian runs and he asks Rawhide Kid to follow, and they go to their camp.
Mm-hmm.
So they explain what's going on, and this guy Thundercloud, he shows up in another. I don't think it's the same.
Right.
But I think.
I think Thundercloud is as common a name as John Smith in Indians in comics. So
yeah,
anyway.
all Indians who are rebellious and kind of mean are named Thundercloud.
All right.
Now, he's a big burly guy, and so they fight. So he wants to go to war. Thundercloud does. Everyone else wants peace. So they fight.
Rawhide and Thundercloud do.
Fight, yeah. They have a big fight, and you get stopped. So then, oh God! All right, Rawhide Kid says, "I'll go see what I can do and fix it. Give me a day." So, I guess his name is Butler. I don't know.
One of the villains.
Yeah, the head. He hires Patch Cooley, guy with a patch.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a really super fast.
Which here's the thing: if this guy has one eye, he probably would not be this amazing sharpshooting, gunslinger. Depth perception, yo.
Yeah, you'd be okay with one gun, but not 2.
Right.
But he's shooting chandeliers, and indoors shooting a gun is very bad. This,
Right. And also, indoors, it's not that impressive
right.
because it's closed space. Like
Mhm.
he could probably bluff.
If he did it really quickly, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on what he's doing, and a quick draw and all that stuff. Then, no one really knows that there is such a thing as a quick draw gunfight in the West.
I don't know.
There may never been the classic. I meet you on the streets at high noon.
It's probably an invention of movies and television
Yeah.
or cheap paperbacks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's Butler Benson is his name, the bad guy.
Yeah.
So Rawhide Kid tries to find good people, and he goes to the press, and they're cowards there. And so he says, "Oh, to hell with it." So he goes into the saloon, goes up top, draws his guns on the bad guys, and here comes this other guy. He attacks him from behind, and it's a big fight with that.
Okay.
And they fall off the. Let's see, what is that called?
Balcony?
I guess it's called balcony. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And now he falls. He hurts himself. They're going to beat him up.
Are you talking about Rawhide?
Rawhide.
Okay.
Then now the American Indians come in. They're on the warpath. Nice big battle scene, but Rawhide gets captured. His Indian friend sees him, and he lets him go. They only leave one guard, and he's looking stupid.
Rawhide shoots the neck off this guy's beer bottle.
Right.
Or whiskey bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool.
Yeah. And he shoots this guy. I don't know what he shoots, but his hat's coming off or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just shooting in the back. That's
pretty
what I
cool.
would have done.
Yeah, right? If this was real life, that's probably what would you do.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of shooting people's guns out of their hands, which is
Right.
such a cliche of Western comics.
Mhm.
But anyway,
Yeah. So he shoots Patch in the hand. So he should have shot his other eye, I think.
oh,
And Butler Benson tries to shoot him in the back. He sees him through the pane glass, and does he kill him? I guess so. Yeah, he's aiming towards his head. Well, he's allowed to kill somebody who's really evil and is trying to kill him.
Right, because that is self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if he shot a guy in cold blood, that's different. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
So he saved the Indians, right?
Save the town, save the Indians from the Enforcers, which is Butler Benson's bad, mean gang.
Yeah, I remember the Enforcers, those guys that fought Spider-Man.
Oh.
Fancy Dan, Ox, and Montana.
Huh. I don't. Wait a minute. Oh, I think I do.
Montana has the lariat. Fancy Dan is a little guy, boxer. And Ox is the big oaf.
Okay.
And then they would be joined by, I can't remember, two other guys. Snake Marston and this other fella. I don't remember who his name was. But anyway, that was later.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's talk about our next story. It's Kid Colt, Outlaw, the fastest gun in the West. This is a reprint from Kid Colt Outlaw number 80. And it's written by Stan Lee with art by Jack Keller.
Mm-hmm.
And is this a 3-part story, or do we just get 3 short Kid Colt stories in this?
This is a standalone.
Okay. That's right.
I think, yeah, they're all standalones.
Yeah, but we get 3 Kid Colt Outlaw stories, and they're all reprinted from issue number 80 of his series. And, and
when does that come out?
Oh, 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Late 50s.
Not the greatest. Interesting little story. Here's Kid Colt's having a beer. Someone sees him. Oh, you're wearing a distinctive vest, so you must be Kid Colt. I will call the sheriff on you. If he changed his vest, he would enjoy his beer more often.
Right.
In peace. So he's coming on, and here comes this guy. Nice looking fella. Like the set of his jaw and the steady, cool way he had of looking you're right in the eye. I could tell he was wasn't aiming to do me any good. Oh, so here's Bill Brown. He's the fastest guy in the West. I said, well, why haven't I heard about you? Well, I'm from the East. And he's a trick shooter, but he's really super fast.
Right.
And Kid Colt says, well, he is fast. So they get into a fist fight. I guess it's, everyone in the West signed a document that said you'll have to get in a fist fight every day. Or you're fired. So Kid Colt says, okay, well, let's have our showdown and let's draw. And he beat him.
Yeah.
But he couldn't pull a trigger because he's really a nice guy. He doesn't shoot anybody in cold blood.
Mm-hmm.
So Kid Colt says, you're the fastest guy, but you're the squarest man I ever met. Adios. The other guy said
when
that.
Square was a compliment.
Yeah. That's not interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes heat more courage not to shoot somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, in a gunfight, yeah. Yeah, it does.
Well, I think if Kid Colt was a bad guy, it would be a different story. But this guy knows that Kid Colt is a good guy.
Yeah.
So to shoot him just to get famous is beyond the pale.
Right. I love that expression.
You know where it's from, right?
Tell me.
Pale was the English section around Dublin, Ireland. And everywhere else was beyond the pale. Outside the boundaries.
Interesting. So the next story we have is Kid Colt Outlaw again, and it's called The Trail to Tombstone. Also from Kid Colt Outlaw number 80, written again by Stan Lee with art by Jack Keller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, The Trail to Tombstone has exclamation point.
Everything
wow.
does.
Yeah.
Everything does.
Okay. So Kid Colt is trying to get to Tombstone, and he gets waylaid by these highwaymen.
Is it Waylon Jennings and
yeah,
Willie Nelson?
That'd be interesting.
I tell you that the version of Stagecoach with them and Johnny Cash and Chris Christopherson.
Was it
That's
good?
the one I've seen. I love it.
Yeah, the first one.
The John Ford movie.
Yeah, it's the first adult western. Had adult themes, and the action was fairly accurate. And they had the characters was a prostitute, was kicked out of town, and
Right.
all kind of, it's serious themes about stuff, and it was very interesting character developments and really well done.
Right on.
Yeah.
The version I've seen, I think, actually, I don't think, I know, the one with the Highwaymen starring in it also had David Allan Coe in a small role.
Cool.
So it's like, man, all these country music heroes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
Yeah. So, Kid Cole beats some people up, but they get the draw on him. So they want him to be a highwayman as well.
But he's not into it.
No, so they get angry, tie him up. Here comes. They were going to shoot him, but there's a stagecoach, and they don't have time to shoot him, I guess. So they rob the stagecoach. Kid Colt's horse unties him.
Yeah. That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe even when a dog does it.
Yeah, actually, it's hard to believe if I did it. How hard those knots are tied.
Probably real hard.
Yeah.
Because these are bad guys. They're not going to just like tie it. Well, somebody will come along and help him. No, they
Yeah.
want him to die.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the people, Kid Cole comes into the stagecoach. The stagecoach people said, hold on, we'll help you. And they go grab their guns.
right?
Yeah, and so they start shooting, and Kid Cole uses lariat to catch the main bad guy. And it's kind of cool. He gets the tombstone, and these two little biddies diss him. So that was his reward.
Right.
Ah.
So, yeah. So the third and last Kid Colt story we have for today is called, it's also from Kid Colt Outlaw number 80, written by Stanley and Jack Keller. It's called The Return of Sam Hawk, Manhunter. Now, last week, we had an episode where we talked about that Sam Hawk story, and it was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually a recycling of this plot, which is actually, this story actually was earlier, but they beefed up that other version. I think it's Superior.
I think it looks better, yeah.
Yeah, some of the character names are changed, but it's basically the same story.
Well, Crawdad's here, and Sam Hawk is here, so
Yeah.
what else do you need? Do we need to go into the plot?
No, because it's exactly the same story, only shorter.
Now, this is the question.
Okay.
For me, I would think that it's easier to write something than to draw something
Yeah.
in comics.
Yeah.
So, you have something written, so let's draw something else completely and to do it. It would seem to me, it says, why don't we... I guess you couldn't have the pictures and then write something over the pictures new. Or could you?
Here's... I mean, this is that original script... Or no, this is the original script. The other one
Right.
was expanded.
Mm-hmm.
So...
But
They
it seems-
worked from this and then they expanded the story before. Now, if they worked in reverse, it would be simpler to just...
that much expansion, though. I mean, a little bit, but...
But it was enough to make a difference. And I think this one, if it had been reversed, like just make it shorter, all you got to do is just edit out some certain panels. You know?
But, I mean, they went to the trouble to draw all these new panels. And
Right.
ink them and color them. And if they're going through all that trouble, why don't they just write a new story? Is it that hard?
It could have been a matter of, well, we need something and we're on a time crunch. Well, let's rehash this story. At
Yeah.
least from the scripting perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's just interesting. I don't know.
yeah.
But it's okay. It's fairly well drawn. I like the other ones better.
Yep, me too.
Oh man, this is my favorite. Other paleface, man, but you a Skrull. He's talking to Crawdad there.
Mm-hmm. But he has a different name in this story, though.
No, it's Crawl Bates, and that was his name before.
Okay.
So I just call him Crawdad because I
Right.
like Crawdads.
Right.
Ah, man.
So, yeah.
So, uh, see, this here is why the American Indians lost the West. So when the white men come, they would get into a fist fight with them, and they lose a fist fight. So this is not the way to beat the white men. It's far better to shoot them, I think, than to get in a fist fight.
Right.
No, I read 4 pale-face Indian fist fights.
Right.
This time, and
It's part of that noble savage kind of thing, like, oh, they have a simpler and better way, and it's like, well, it venerates them, but also mythifies them, and that's not a real word, but but you know what I mean.
Right.
All right. So anyway,
Yeah, it's yeah, not bad. I do like Sam Hawk, and reading him twice, and my favorite little thing he does is, "Oh, kid, that's my duty to hunt you down until you bring you in. But nothing in the book says I can't stop to light my pipe, and a strong wind like this could take most of an hour." That is so cool and so great. It's
yeah,
cool. I don't know.
there's honor, there's graciousness. It's
So,
what makes Sam Hawk a compelling character.
Mhm.
And I haven't read enough Kid Colt to know if he's just all over the place in those stories. But at least in the 2 stories we've read, which are basically the same story, he's great and memorable. So, and that's saying a lot because a lot of these Western...
I think we read 3.
We've
And then
read other ones
2,
before.
Yeah, 2 in this time. I think we read 2, at least 2 last week.
I don't know. I just meant in general.
In general. Okay.
So, but in a lot of these Western stories, the villain or the other main character in that particular story, the one you're fighting against, is a throwaway. And Sam Hawk is an exception to that. He's very memorable. So let's talk about our last story for this book and this episode. It's Two Guns Against Geronimo from Two Gun Kid number 72, written by Stan Lee and art by Dick Ayers.
All right.
I thought it was cool that Geronimo was in this.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they got the Apache costumes or dress pretty authentic.
Yeah. I have been to Geronimo's grave.
Really?
Yeah, I leaned against it for a picture, and somebody says, you could do it now, but no one did it to him when he was alive. So, which is actually not true. He kind of ended his life a drunkard, but that's a thing. But he gave the U.S. Army a run for its money.
Oh yeah, for years. Yeah. So
the Apaches are probably the most troublesome Indian tribe at the time.
well, because they fought basically to the end.
And they fought against everybody.
I mean, the Wild West was over with the death of Geronimo.
Yeah, close enough.
Basically.
I
mean,
the other Indians' word for Apache was the enemy.
Wow.
They were just as much as people talk about savages and all that stuff. The Apaches were more so.
Okay.
And some people say, "Oh, they don't know right from wrong." I think Jim Bridger was well. If you want to find out if the Apaches know right from wrong, just wrong him.
Right.
That's a great quote.
Would it be fair to say that the Apache were ruthless or uncompromising?
Both, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they were more treacherous as well. They have their own morality, and their morality does not include honoring treaties and promises. So
they had more in common with us than we gave them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but let's talk about this story.
All right,
if we can.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Really well drawn. So Geronimo and the Apaches are kind of angry at the town. Let's see. And what's his gun? This evil guy is listening. He's a paleface.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to warn the kids. Don't do drugs. That's what he's
right.
He's going to go tell the people in Tombstone. Man, Tombstone gets around. It must be a huge metropolis.
Right.
And he's going to tell the Apaches are going to attack. So the posse goes out to meet the Apaches, and he's going to rob the bank, which is an interesting plot. Is it stupid or clever?
Oh, he wants to get the town people riled about the Apaches to distract?
Yeah. So
Well,
they leave the town so he can just rob at will.
What was the name of that caveman or savage guy that was it was a Gold Key comic or a Dell Toka or something like that, and he fought that mole man guy who funded a parade to distract people from while he was robbing banks from underneath them.
Now that was stupid,
but great.
Yeah,
that was a fun comic.
Yeah.
Kona,
Yeah.
Kona, Monarch of Monster Isle. That's right.
I would like to have that. Yeah, Jeff Monarch of Monster Isle. Talk to UN today.
That's great. So, Indians, two-gun stuff happening.
So one of the guys sees a paleface running.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he gets suspicious. Okay, what is this guy's name? It's something like Sneer or something.
Something like that. Sneed, isn't it?
Sneed saw here. I wouldn't trust him. Oh man, Boom Boom. I love Boom Boom's
Yeah.
man. He's just a big goof.
But yeah, so Matt Hawk, a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Two-gun, okay. Two-gun has more going for him than these other Western heroes. He's got a secret identity. He's got like a girlfriend and a best friend and stuff. He's got a supporting cast.
He's a lawyer, so he has money.
But somehow he seems less interesting than Rawhide and Kid Colt.
Yeah. Yeah, good question. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody's mad about the Apaches and go get them, but Matt goes out and he tries to calm everybody down. Hey, is Matt Hawk related to Sam Hawk?
No, I don't think so.
How many people are named Hawk?
I don't know. Plenty of people in Westerns because it just sounds, it's got a good ring to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
they tie up Matt, and Sneed is going to beat up Matt, and Boom Boom changes his mind.
in his own unique way.
Yeah.
Boom
Boom's great. I'd rather read a Boom Boom comic than anybody else.
That's funny. No, he is a cool character.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So there's a big fight. Here comes Two-Gun Kid, rescue Boom Boom.
Punches out Sneed.
Yeah.
Then the Apaches are on the warpath because
Sneed lost a
spur.
And
they think that Sneed killed what is it, the son of Geronimo or something like that?
His nephew.
Yeah. And so
yeah, so the Apaches come to attack the place, and they surround the town of Tombstone. Geronimo shows a proof.
Yeah, and says, "Look, somebody killed my nephew, and you give him to us, or we're gonna attack the town."
Mm-hmm.
And so they go after Sneed because he's got a broken spur.
Yeah.
But as scummy as he is, he didn't commit the murder.
Well, he doesn't know. But Two-Gun says, we don't know. So let's give him a trial or something. So we're not going to give him out to the Apaches.
I like or something.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Oh, man. So Two-Gun fights in the town. He saves Sneed. Nice punch. Wham! A fist in the face.
Yeah.
And he comes and he talks to Geronimo. And there's always this bad Indian. And
right.
And the bad Indian is who you got to fight to get peace. And this is how we won the West.
Apparently. This is the third time in this one issue that this has happened.
So all you need to do is get some big, beefy Irish guys to go and punch out Indians, and you win. That's all you do. Yeah.
Oh, the secret history of the Wild West.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. So they fight, and they not a bad fight.
Yeah, they tie their feet together. They fight Indians.
His name is Thundercloud, I do believe.
Oh man.
But he gets him riled up. Two-Gun has a plan. He gets him riled up and makes Thundercloud confess.
By accident.
Yeah.
And then Geronimo hears and realizes this guy did the murdering, and so he's gonna keep the treaty, and the town is saved.
Mm-hmm.
And Sneed, who is a dirtbag, is also saved,
and saved in 2 ways. He is saved from a death, and he's saved from a life of crime because he's going straight.
Yay!
Yeah, well, very well done.
Nice morals and stuff at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and redemptive things are always good. That's a level of depth that I think makes a mediocre story a better one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but pretty cool.
Yeah.
We have another.
No,
one?
that was it for that episode.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, Comic Reflections, just to remind you, is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. Check us out. Lots of other cool stuff at rhymeswithgeek.com.